This political or social unrest gets the attention of not just the political leaders of the community or the nation concerned. It gets even the attention of the global community. Other nations begin to pay attention to that particular community or nation. Anywhere in the world where there is social or political unrest brings along with it some positive and some negative effects. These effects could be short-term, they could be long-term effects. In this video, I will be highlighting the public health implications of social or political unrest. The World Health Organization defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. That is a complete definition of health. So when we talk about our health, it has many components and different factors that determine how healthy we are. The physical, the mental, the social, and even the spiritual aspects of our lives determine how healthy we are. A political space describes a concept of how people are governed, how people are led, and that in achieving their goals, their objectives, getting their fulfillment in life. So it describes the interaction that occurs between people. It is a form of social interaction that involves achievement of goals and fulfillment of purposes. A political or social unrest describes a situation where there's a disturbance in that relationship, demonstrated by people who go into protest, trying to express their displeasure, their dissatisfaction, and anger towards the situation of the community they are in, which normally start as peaceful demonstrations, but some of the time are violent. These demonstrations are many times genuine. They express people's loss of confidence, interest in ongoing policies and experiences with the leadership and the economic situation of the community or the nation where they are. Talking about finances, talking about housing, talking about security, talking about food, talking about health, many other areas of people's life and livelihood. The protests, demonstrations, expressions get to achieve a lot. There are many advantages to these expressions. However, there are also disadvantages or implications which are negative to the public health of the people, and they may be in the short term or in the long term. It is important to note that as at the time of recording this video, there is a current situation in Nigeria, which is the End Bad Governance in Nigeria demonstration. It's currently ongoing with demonstrations and protests in different parts of the country where the people are expressing their concerns about their living conditions. This may also be happening in different parts of the world. So whether you're a Nigerian or not, you need this information. This may help to influence your decisions during social or political unrest. Talking about the health implications, the four major areas that we'll be looking at in this video are: firstly, let's consider physical health implications. So when people go into demonstrations, it's usually on the field, on the streets, in the open air. So the weather condition at that time may have some effect on the people involved. Talking about exposure to sunlight, exposure to rain, which have their health implications. Other things include dehydration that may occur from long walks, from talking, from shouting. People could also get exhausted, and there are also exposures in situations where there are counter demonstrations, counter attacks, the police or military getting involved, use of tear gas. This can affect the respiratory system, the skin of people that are exposed to such chemicals. Most people are also exposed to dust where there's crowding, and for people that have some medical conditions, respiratory conditions like bronchial asthma, they have the likelihood of developing an attack at such a time. So it is important to put in measures to handle the physical effects when getting involved in demonstrations or a protest. Other possibilities include transmission of skin infections, viral infections through the respiratory tract. These have implications on the health of individuals and even the people involved in that community. So it is important to make provisions like adequate provision of water for drinking, for washing, use of face mask, use of umbrellas in situations where there is hot weather or even during rainy season. Also, it will be important to take breaks in between these protests and demonstrations. Next, we look at the mental health implications of social or political unrest. Prior to a demonstration or a protest, there must have been experiences, conditions that are not pleasant to the people. So some of these could have also affected their mental states. People could have gone into anxiety moods, depression. Some could have even attempted to commit suicide, considering their financial states, considering many different conditions around them. And so much more during a demonstration or protest. For example, the ongoing protest in Nigeria is being slated for 10 days, and this is the third day into the demonstration. So the situation has put people into fear, anxiety, and a lot of negative emotions. These are not healthy. So people may go into depression, anxiety, for the fear of the unknown, what's likely to happen. So people tend to actually withdraw from physically getting involved. Some others who get involved may find themselves apprehended, trying to express anger, especially when there is a counter demonstration or counter attack to these protests. Some people experience acute stress disorder or even post-traumatic stress disorder, and these have both short-term and long-term implications on the health of individual families and communities. So if you are experiencing such at such a time, or if you have a current or ongoing management of any mental health condition, it's advised that you do not participate in such demonstrations or protests. Now, if you are able to participate, for people that are developing acute stress disorder, may need to seek professional help, counseling at such a time, or even for people who develop post-traumatic stress disorder. It's important to take care of your mental health, as this is a very vital aspect of your overall health. So it is important to seek the help of a mental health professional and seek the help of community organizations, non-governmental organizations that can help to handle such issues at such moments, in such situations, when people are trying to cope with the emotional tone of political unrest or instability. It is important to seek the help of mental health professionals, community organization support, so that these mental health effects taking a toll on any individual could be well handled during a political unrest or social instability. Other measures include applying relaxation techniques, meditation, taking time to sing, dance, enjoying time with families and friends. All these help to mitigate the negative effect of the current social or political situation. So it is important to note that the more peaceful a demonstration or protest is, the better the effect on the physical and even the mental health of individuals and members of that community or nation involved. Let's move to the third implication. As this end bad governance in Nigeria is taking place, and this is the third day into the demonstration, which has for most parts been peaceful. It is important to also note that social services withdrawal and the implication on the health of vulnerable groups should be considered. So it is important to consider this withdrawal of social services and vulnerability of the elderly and the children. If you are in Nigeria, you know there are times that there are demonstrations, protests that involves withdrawal of services such as the power supply services, transportation services, even communication services, which could really be disturbing as this affects communication between people during such a time. So it is important to note that measures can be put in place to help keep the support services ongoing during such demonstrations, such as homes for the elderly, children care, power supply, water supply, communication networks. These are important areas that should not be shut down during a demonstration, as these have negative effects or impact on the people of the community or the nation involved during such social or political unrest. Social settings, social amenities, if destroyed during a demonstration or protest, would actually require replacement, and that's going to cost a lot on the government, the individuals, the communities involved. Next, let's talk about disruption of essential services. Remember, during COVID period, there was a lot of considerations for essential services, including the police, the military, the health services, communication services were given some considerations. During a social or political unrest, there is a tendency for these essential services to be affected. One, for example, security services. If there is no understanding and there is no peaceful demonstration or protest, this may turn into several attacks that can affect the protection of the people and disrupt the community. Now let's look at health services. Most of the time, people that are involved in providing these services may have challenges with transportation, may have the fear, anxiety associated with these demonstrations, and may tend to withdraw. So it may even be on a private note, even for government-based essential services. The implication, for example, is that for people with chronic medical conditions, in cases of emergencies, people may not be able to access these essential services of medical professionals. And what should be done includes that there should be agreements, discussions, and a way to ensure that demonstrations, protests are peaceful, not allow for loss of lives or any form of mayhem in the community. Other measures will include emergency services provision and considerations for those who provide essential services so that the health implications will be mitigated. As the End Bad Governance in Nigeria protest enters into another day and it's gaining momentum, it is important that as a people we are focused on definitely accountability, expectations on excellence, better economic situation, better living conditions, and many more demands. For example, the removal of fuel subsidy that is being requested as part of the request being made by the people. This should all be done in a peaceful manner, considering the fact that there are many public health implications depending on our attitude during this period. In conclusion, as people demand for accountability, better living conditions, and economic situation in their community or nation, It is important to know that there are many public health implications of this demonstration. As the end bad governance in Nigeria is ongoing, but they should remain peaceful. The government, the people should do their part to ensure that Nigeria becomes the greater nation that it should be. It is important for both government and the protesters to ensure maintenance of order, and this is done peacefully so that we can have a better and greater nation. Stay safe, stay healthy, keeping fit, stay informed. See you in my next video. Bye for now.